All right, coach, we're going to talk about the skill of passing. This is an underrated one, an under-taught one. I don't think we spend enough time on this as coaches and teaching our players. A lot of poor passes lead to turnovers, and a lot of turnovers leads to games that we lost that we really should have won. And oftentimes more games are lost than they're won, and it can come down to the simple skill of passing. So we're going to break this down and give you the 4 most common passes to be aware of. The first type of pass is a penetrating pass. And under this category of penetrating passes, we're talking about backdoor passes. We're talking about dump offs on penetration where we dump it off to a big at the basket for an easy catch and finish. These are post feed passes. So penetrating passes is something we've got to get good at and we've got to work on if we were serious about scoring more points and reducing our turnovers. Second type of pass is inside out scoring passes. This may be the most common. This is off in today's game where so much of the game is reliant on off the dribble, getting to the paint and making things happen or coming off a ball screen. And so this, like I said, is probably the most common. When you get to the paint, do your players have the skill? Not talking about reads yet, but do they even have the skill to deliver the pass that they need? Maybe it's a hook pass on a left-hand drive penetration. They need to throw a hook pass over a defender's arms to a player in the left corner that's 20 feet away. Or maybe they get to the paint and they need to pivot out of pressure and kick it out. Or it's a flick pass with their outside hand. Or for more of their high-level players, it might even be a behind-the-back pass. These inside-out scoring passes are ones that we've got to work on and work on being on target with these passes. Third type of pass is ball reversals. And this is simple, just sometimes catching the ball and swinging it in a quick fashion. Not enough players know how to do it. Oftentimes the ball is sticking in their hands, but this is a key component of any good offense. It's changing sides of the floor is ball reversals. Fourth type of pass is transition passes. And this is one, if you coach youth basketball, and I don't even want to limit it to just youth basketball, but all the way at the high school and college level. But I'll give you a quick example in youth basketball, meaning 4th through 7th or 8th grade, where a lot of players are bringing the ball up the floor and they want to make a kick ahead pass to their teammate. Most players can't do the traditional chest pass, which is an important pass that you need to be able to make as a player, but they'll stop and they'll wind up for the baseball, and those often get deflected by an on-ball defender or even get intercepted by the help defender because it took so long. That player that was open is no longer open. So we've got to work on transition passing in our program. This is key for having a good transition team. All right, here's an example of Chris Paul on a transition kick-ahead pass, a more traditional chest pass. And along with the skill of the pass, I want you to notice the habit. And one of the habits Chris Paul has is he sneaks a peek. So he takes a subtle but quick glance before the ball hits his fingertips to give him a vision, a mapping of the floor, so that when the ball does touch his hands, he's already knows what's ahead of him, and he makes a great touch pass. And this is a touch pass, one that you have to work on. Your point guards will make it more than any other of your players, but I think a lot of your players need to be able to have this in their arsenal, in their tool belt, to be able to use in a game. Again, a kick-ahead pass here with Chris Paul. All right, we're going to take a look at some film here and some of these passes that we reference, and we're just going to let the tape run, and I'll talk through it as we go in a pretty quick fashion. So let's just take a look. This first clip here, you're going to see Villanova, Jalen Brunson in college. Nice penetration, little dump-off pass. Again, as you watch his second time, when he gets close to the paint, he just makes what we call a shovel pass. And it's a very easy pass for the offensive player to catch and finish. Here in the second clip, you're going to see a nice coming off a ball screen and making that, what we call that penetrating pass. And the only way you can do this is by having vision. And she makes an inside hand flick pass for a nice catch and finish. Again, here, NBA film, Chris Middleton attacking the paint, maintains vision, makes that across the body bounce pass. So notice he throws the ball across his body, defender's hands are up, makes a nice bounce pass. Here's a hook pass. Yep, nice over the top hook pass. Defender's hands are down, easy to catch and finish. Another example, a little bit of a hook pass here. Sabrina in college, over the top. Notice the defender's hands are down, which allows for that over the top air pass. Keeping it rolling here. And another example, penetration, dump off. This is an inside hand flick pass. Again, air passes are often easier to catch than bounce passes. So when able to throw that air or face high pass, that's probably a better pass than the bounce. Again, another example of a penetrating pass here. Bit of a backdoor. It's a pick and roll play. And notice the little subtle, Luka's going to look off that corner defender on the weak side to freeze him and able to free up time for Jamal Murray.